How Anthropic Claude Research and Google Workspace integration redefine enterprise AI. Anthropic has introduced two new features to its Claude AI assistant: Research and Google Workspace integration, marking its latest effort to position its AI assistant as a collaborative enterprise AI partner. Anthropic's latest upgrades, Claude's Research Agent and Workspace native integration, shift the competitive center of enterprise AI, said Sanchit Gogia, Chief Analyst and CEO at Greyhound Research. No longer content with fast answers, CIOs are demanding audit-ready, multi-document synthesis. Anthropic's emphasis on citation-backed reasoning and secure document retrieval is more than an academic choice. It's a compliance lever, Gogia said. Unless vendors like OpenAI and Google match Claude's standards for sandbox context and retrieval integrity, enterprise AI adoption will continue to be throttled by fear, not lack of functionality, Gogia said. Anthropic has crossed the threshold from assistant to analyst, pressuring rivals like Copilot and ChatGPT Enterprise to catch up on defensibility, not just capability, Gogia added. As quoted in computerworld.com, in an article authored by Gyana Swain published on April 16, 2025. Additional comments by Greyhound Research Analyst. Claude's Research and Workspace integration Redraw enterprise AI competitive lines. Greyhound Flashpoint, Anthropic's latest upgrades, Claude's Research Agent and Workspace native integration, shift the competitive center of enterprise AI. No longer content with fast answers, CIOs are demanding audit-ready, multi-document synthesis. According to the Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025, 73% of global CIOs now cite citation-backed reasoning as essential for core enterprise workflows. At Greyhound Research, we believe Anthropic has crossed the threshold from assistant to analyst, pressuring rivals like Copilot and ChatGPT Enterprise to catch up on defensibility, not just capability. Greyhound standpoint. According to Greyhound Research, the Claude plus Workspace combination offers more than productivity. It offers contextual continuity. Where Microsoft Copilot automates within its ecosystem and ChatGPT Enterprise dominates multi-domain interaction, Claude's strength lies in its disciplined focus, citation-first research, workspace native operability, and consistent tone in agentic outputs. Gemini, by contrast, feels caught between its consumer DNA and enterprise ambition. Claude's moves point to an emerging maturity in AI tool design, one where autonomy must still align with enterprise logic, not simply user whim. Greyhound Pulse Insights. The Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025 reveals shifting enterprise metrics for AI procurement. 61% of U.S. CIOs prioritize platform integration for daily tasks, while 68% of EU CIOs now demand transparent model logic and data handling as procurement prerequisites. In Asia-Pacific, 56% of CIOs cite Workspace Harmony, tools that coexist within Google or Microsoft suites, as a top 3 buying factor. Anthropic's Workspace Embed checks that box, while simultaneously addressing a second major concern: structured defensibility. Its positioning aligns with boardroom conversations moving away from assistants and toward evidence-based agents. Greyhound Field Notes. Per a Greyhound Field Note from an enterprise client in the telecom sector, early Claude pilots were dismissed due to weak integrations. But post-Workspace rollout, the same firm expects to see at least 2-3x user retention in legal, sales, and compliance workflows. One risk analyst said that he expects Claude's research to be what Copilot should have been: more scholar, less secretary. This realignment in user perception is spreading fast, especially in sectors where documentation is currency. Claude's win here isn't just technical, it is emotional, shifting trust from automation to articulation. Claude's citation-centric design speaks directly to regulated enterprise needs. Greyhound Flashpoint. Anthropic's emphasis on citation-backed reasoning and secure document retrieval is more than an academic choice. It's a compliance lever. According to the Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025, 79% of financial services CIOs globally now require all AI-generated outputs to be auditable by legal or regulatory teams. At Greyhound Research, we believe Claude is emerging as the AI platform of record for sectors that equate hallucinations not with risk, but with liability. Greyhound standpoint. According to Greyhound Research, Anthropic's prioritization of structured, traceable responses puts it in a rare category of Gen AI tools, those built for legal safety, not just digital speed. In industries like finance and healthcare, where every advisory output or research answer could influence policy or patient outcomes, citation-first logic is not just a feature, it's foundational. While Copilot integrates deeply, and ChatGPT dazzles with interface fluency. Neither has put compliance at the center of their product DNA the way Claude now has. This makes it a likely default for internal knowledge audits and document-intensive workflows. Greyhound Pulse Insights. The Greyhound Compliance and Risk Pulse 2025 shows that 84% of regulated industry leaders globally now consider AI-generated content as discoverable evidence during litigation or regulatory reviews. Within this context, Claude's provenance-first model delivery offers much-needed insulation. In contrast, 62% of enterprises running pilots on alternative tools reported that internal compliance officers had either limited or halted full-scale deployments due to opaque sourcing. Claude's growth is rooted not in novelty, but in necessity. Greyhound Field Notes. Per a Greyhound Field Note from a strategy review at a leading insurer in Canada, Copilot's free-form answers were flagged by the risk team as unverifiable under fiduciary disclosure. The team now plans to trial Claude's research, where outputs, anchored to cited policy documents and timestamp directives, are expected to clear both compliance and internal audit. They hope this LLM test will ultimately evolve into a roadmap for defensible automation. This friction-less journey is emblematic of what most regulated firms now face. Impressive outputs aren't enough, proof matters. Claude's Agentic turn signals a broader shift from AI assistant to autonomous analyst. Greyhound Flashpoint. Claude's new research capability doesn't just automate, it reasons, synthesizes, and justifies. That leap from task aid to autonomous researcher is a watershed for enterprise AI. According to Greyhound Pulse 2025, 67% of technology decision makers now want AI tools to deliver business reasoning, not just data lookup. At Greyhound Research, we believe Claude's shift marks the beginning of AI platforms being measured by their logic, not just their latency. Greyhound Standpoint. According to Greyhound Research, Anthropic's move toward agentic workflows is a declaration of intent, one that suggests enterprises will soon demand not just automation, but accountable decision scaffolding. Most AI vendors are still selling task accelerators. Claude is beginning to sell thinking partners. This reframes enterprise AI, not as a productivity overlay, but as an epistemic engine. The broader implication? The next wave of enterprise tooling won't be judged by how many macros it can run, but by how many assumptions it can challenge. Greyhound Pulse Insights. The Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025 notes a clear trend. 72% of respondents now benchmark AI tools based on enterprise logic alignment, whether the tool understands role-specific nuance, cross-functional priorities, and strategic memory. Claude's research represents the early form of this, gathering documents, drawing logical chains, and presenting argument-grade reasoning. In contrast, 44% of surveyed Copilot users say they still rely on human judgment to validate every AI suggestion. The gap is no longer technical, it's philosophical. Greyhound Field Notes. Per a Greyhound Field Note from a UK-based energy conglomerate, the team expects the Claude research pilot to enable sustainability officers to model ESG policy impacts by ingesting multiple regulatory PDFs and generating position-ready commentary with footnotes. One senior VP remarked, "Copilot feels like it's working with me, but I'm hoping Claude makes me feel like it's working for me." That single-line shift from collaboration to delegation may well define the agentic era. It also redefines how trust is built, not just through accuracy, but through accountability. Claude's enterprise rise forces a rethink on security and data risk in generative AI. Greyhound Flashpoint. Anthropic's promise of secure document retrieval and enterprise-aligned data handling is well-timed. According to Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025, 81% of global CIOs cite data exposure via GenAI platforms as a top 3 executive concern. At Greyhound Research, we believe that unless vendors like OpenAI and Google match Claude standards for sandbox context and retrieval integrity, enterprise AI adoption will continue to be throttled by fear, not lack of functionality. Greyhound Standpoint. According to Greyhound Research, security and data privacy remain the final frontier for enterprise-grade AI. While vendors celebrate multimodal features and agentic interfaces, CIOs remain laser-focused on lineage, retrieval scope, and document isolation. Claude's architecture, especially its real-time retrieval within secure workspace environments, offers insulation that most LLMs overlook. Enterprises want assurances that AI doesn't turn context into leakage. That's where Claude is winning mindshare by taking a zero-trust stance in a world still dominated by convenience-first designs. Greyhound Pulse Insights. In the Greyhound AI Risk Governance Pulse 2025, 66% of enterprises reported that data risk, not model performance, is now the gating factor in AI deployment. Of these, 52% require full tenant isolation and retrieval boundary enforcement. Claude's document handling, which allows secure ingestion from Workspace and bounded retrieval, aligns directly with these gating criteria. Other models still lean on RAG without strict perimeter controls, an increasingly untenable proposition in post-breach governance climates. Greyhound Field Notes. Per a Greyhound Field Note from an engagement in Australia, Claude outperformed both Gemini and ChatGPT in an interdepartmental knowledge pilot, primarily due to its data insulation capabilities. Internal auditors noted that, with Workspace integration now in place, Claude enables contextual query handling without exporting any documents to external servers. As the CTO remarked, we can finally trial Gen AI without waking up legal. That blend risk-aware, audit-ready AI is increasingly what CIOs define as enterprise-grade. Analyst in focus, Sanchit Gogia. Sanchit Gogia, or SVG as he is popularly known, is a globally recognized technology analyst, innovation strategist, digital consultant, and board advisor. SVG is the chief analyst, founder and CEO of Greyhound Research, a global, award-winning technology research, advisory, consulting, and education firm. Greyhound Research works closely with global organizations, their CXOs, and the board of directors on technology and digital transformation decisions. SVG is also the founder and CEO of the House of Greyhound, an eclectic venture focusing on interdisciplinary innovation. Copyright policy. All content contained on the Greyhound Research website is protected by copyright law and may not be reproduced, distributed, transmitted, displayed, published, or broadcast without the prior written permission of Greyhound Research or, in the case of third-party materials, the prior written consent of the copyright owner of that content. You may not alter, delete, obscure, or conceal any trademark, copyright, or other notice appearing in any Greyhound Research content. We request our readers not to copy Greyhound Research content and not republish or redistribute them, in whole or partially, via emails or republishing them in any media, including websites, newsletters, or intranets. We understand that you may want to share this content with others, so we've added tools under each content piece that allow you to share the content. If you have any questions, please get in touch with our community relations team at connect@thofker.com.